Hi everybody, nice back here again, and today I've got another inbox review for you, and today we're going to be looking at Airfix's submarine Spitfire, Seafire Mark 7. Okay, no, not 7, Mark 17. I don't know, it's been a long day. Okay, in 148. So this is a fairly new kit. I'll say fairly new. I reckon it's about 5 or 6 years old. In this really striking box art, okay, of the Seafire. These would be post-war Seafires that flew into the early 1950s before they then got taken out of frontline service and into the trainer sort of role before they then got retired. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll put it on our bed and we'll get cracking. So as we normal with Airfix, we start with the instruction manual, and it's normal A4 booklet. We've got English, French and some other languages on there with a little bit of blurb about the actual aircraft. Before we go on to the assembly instructions, some of the assembly icons, and then straight into the build. So as with any aircraft, you start in the cockpit, and we've got the control panel going together, the control yoke and the control pedals all going together to form something that will look like that from a side view. We've then got the seat and the armor plating going in before that gets mounted onto the rear bulkhead of the cockpit, and then it tells you to cut a bit out if you wanted the actual side of the cockpit open or not. And you can see the two different demarcation lines for the colours, so 33 on the top and 90 on the bottom. I think that's a silver, but I can't remember my Humbrol colours. We then move to adding that into the actual cockpit itself, and again we've got a side view of all the different parts there. Moving on to the other side of the fuselage. Okay, as you can see, adding more controls and another part there that tells us what it looks like. We've got the prop going together. Okay, so we've got the 3 props going together, which then gets added to the actual fuselage with, I don't know whether that's a plastic bit and not a grub screw, so it goes on the back and it actually just sits there. Before we then join the fuselage halves together, we're then starting to look at pieces we want to drill out for some of the weapons. Okay, so you can have these central drill parts drilled out for whichever one you want for the actual stand, if you're going to use the stand. But then you've got fuel tanks, rockets and what have you that go on there. Before then we move on to, oh yeah, we can have the wings extended or folded, so you'll have 2 different parts. So on this one you can see you can add the parts for the extended, the folded wings, and that the one above it was the extended wings. We then add the top wings to the lower wings, add the fuselage, okay, or we do this part here, which is all to do with the folded wings if you're displaying it with folded wings. This is a Griffin engined Seafire, so you'll have these bulges on the top above the exhaust stacks, which denotes it's a Griffin engined aircraft before you put the chin on underneath the nose. We've got control surfaces going on, horizontal and vertical tail parts. We've got the hook going on, okay, whether you want it extended or not, with the flaps up or down. So if you're having it with any of those configurations, so if it's flying, if it's the wheels down without the flaps, or if it's wings folded, you have it hooked. If you have the flaps down and wheels down, you have the hook down. And again, you can have the tail open or close, whichever you prefer. And then you've got the wheels, whether you've got weight on wheels for this one if it's airborne, or whether it's sat on the deck of the ship just like so. We then move on to adding the actual legs themselves for the undercarriage and the undercarriage covers, whether you want them down or up like we've got here. Before we move on to adding some of the control surfaces to the aircraft, whether it's going to be wings extended or wings folded. Same with all the flaps and what have you. We then move on to the radiators going on. So 2 on the belly and then one just underneath the chin. And then again, adding all the different weapons and for this aircraft or fuel tanks or whatever. And you can see it there. And you can see it, A, B, or C will tell you which aircraft you're depicting. This comes with a pilot. So you've got the forward section of cockpit glass. You've got the pilot going in, and then you've got the open and closed canopy. Okay. Also, you wouldn't have it open if it was in flight. Moving on to the colour calls out. So we've got 767 Naval Air Squadron at Yolverton in Somerset from 1950. Then we've got 807 Naval Air Squadron from HMS Vengeance in 1947. And all these colour call-outs are all in Humbrol. So we've got a nice white-tailed one here. Quite a boring overall dark sea, well, extra dark sea grey and matte beige green. And then we've got 1831 Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve Air Station Streatham HMS Blackcap Cheshire 1947 to 1951, and you've got this one's got the two-tone markings with the lovely red and yellow nose cone. So that's the instructions. Moving straight on to the plastic. Okay, so here's our plastic, and it's all nicely molded on this sprue. I can't see any short shots. I can't see any problems with mold lines or anything like that. So we've got our folded wings and we've got our extended wings on here, and it's all got really nice panel lines. Maybe a little bit too deep, but again, add a little bit of paint on there and it might not be as bad. Flip it over, we've got our control surfaces down here. No real detail in the wings for the undercarriage bays. Some nice detail. Maybe have to get rid of some of these injection pin marks in the actual two radiator covers. One piece wheels, which is nice. Just have to get rid of the seam line, and then you've got a separate hubs just there. Only two grey sprues in this kit. Okay, we've got the fuselage, the propeller, the pilot in there. Okay, and again, some really nice, there's no rivet detail really apart from on this forward section, and to be fair, they were quite big. There's a little bit of rivet detail on this sort of part, but again, looking at it, no major issues. Some nice detail on the bulkhead for the actual cockpit. I can't see a cockpit forward panel. Let me just check the other one. No, it's not in there either. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's the cockpit. Basic detail on there. Okay, some nice detail on the inside of the actual fuselage for the cockpit. It's actually really nice, that. So that's Airfix's Seafire. It should be a straightforward build. I can't envision seeing it having any major problems. I have built one of Airfix's Seafires, not this one. One of the earlier ones where it was on the deck, I believe, but I can't remember. But I have built, and it does build up to a really nice looking model. And if you wanted to, you can go to town adding rivets, extra aftermarket, and what have you. Well, that's it from me, and I'll see you next one. Bye for now.